Okay, aquatic community, we are now in overtime. This is overtime from my Part 2 series of Skip's fish breeding tips for beginners. We're going to jump right into it so I can finish and finalize this video series. So check this out as we finish up this series. Here's another one of my studs, Big Kazoo. And Big Kazoo has bred with Miss Pikachu on a number of occasions. And he's a wild caught Trimex, and actually was caught in a river instead of a lagoon like most Trimex are caught in. And let's take a look at one of his offsprings. This female right here is off the Great Kazoo. Beautiful specimen. Here's Miss Mascara. Oh, and Anubis is over here in his own tank, but that light isn't working right now, so I have to get a shot of him later. Also, another one of my studs, Big King Brigadi. Now I'm showing you this so that you can see that I believe that this technique is a better technique. Studding out your males. I have so many generations of Trimex in here, it's ridiculous. And a lot of people online always talk about the reasons why they think Pyro Trimex are so special, and some people always discuss the reason why they think they're not so special. But here's the thing. If you're just looking at the surface of the fish and you on one side or the other side, you both are wrong. The reason why these Pyro Trimex are unique and special is because they have a 20-year lineage, 2-decade-old bloodline. I have been using this same technique for over 20 years, breeding and studying different Trimex into my bloodline. It's like weaving a quilt. It's so much in their genetic gene pool that even if these fish have babies and the babies interbred, they still come out looking different from the parents. And if you notice, none of these Trimex look exactly alike. Come on out, Kazoo. Kazoo, elongated, long body, protruding mouth. Look like he mugging you with his lip all up on the glass. Here we go, people. Check out Big King Bison. Almost 3 inches thick. Got the little eyeliner. Nice, thick physique. Look at his body. Very deep. Short snout. Squared off mouth. Looks nothing like the Great Kazoo. Looks nothing like King Brigadi. Looks nothing like Baraka. Bojack. All my Trimex and Pyro Trimex look totally different because they all bring a unique factor to the bloodline and the gene pool that only they have to offer. That's what makes the Pyro Trimex special, because over 2 decades I've been sowing different genetics inside this bloodline. Kazoo and Rodan aren't the first wild caught Trimex that I bred into my Pyro line. I have bred many over the years. Wild caught, domestic bred Trimex into my bloodline. And I'm the only one that can prove it. I'm not just the only one that can say that, but I can prove what I say. I even have old DVDs of my Pyros 10 years ago on video. And very few people that come over here, or my closest friends, get to see those DVDs. Marco was one of them. He even saw one of those DVDs. He couldn't believe what he saw on the DVD. But let's not get off track. These are my studs. I keep them all in the tank separately for a reason. And that reason is to keep nice, beautiful females like this one before you safe, out of harm's way. Keep the fins looking perfect. No scales missing. Mouth is not ripped up. From the ongoing battle and confrontation with a male, that's what happens when you try to keep pairs. You want to establish a true pair, you have to get two fish that equally respect one another without the drama and without the stress. Period. Also, you want to keep track of your female's ovulation cycle. Now, sometimes I jot mine down in a book, although I remember all of them, but you know, you can make mistakes. We all human. So what I do is write mine in a book like this. Okay, aquatic community, allow me to share with you one of my manuscripts. This is Real Hard 6 Aquatic Kennels Fish Pedigree book. And in this book, not only do I keep track of the breeding cycles, the fish that I breed, stud out, the females, the pedigree, I also keep track of my females' ovulation period. That is very important when you're using this style of breeding. There's a reason why I call this a master breeder program. And there's a reason why I say I'm a master breeder. Because this is not easy. I'm not going to give you full details. You're going to get that in my next book on how you train your fish and how you go through the whole full process. But I am going to give you some tidbits. And one of the most important things is to learn when your female have a what I call true or viable ovulation cycle. And what I mean by that is this. Before Miss Veyron had successfully laid and spawned these fry that you see before you, she had dropped eggs 2 weeks prior to that. But those eggs were false. Meaning they wasn't valuable. Sometimes the female, I don't know why, no one can scientifically prove why, but sometimes they may want to clean out their system. Or sometimes they go through the process. But I knew that that wasn't the right time to throw a nubis in this tank. From previous experiences with Miss Veyron and both Anubis. I knew the last time when they had these that was a valuable cycle and that was the right time to drop these two in the tank. Timing is everything, people. That's one thing I can't teach you. That's one thing I can't tell you. You have to learn that on your own. But learn the ovulation cycle. I'm going to give you something that no one else can give you. No one else will tell you. You can't find nowhere on the internet. Most cichlids, especially large cichlids, and especially cichlids in Amphilophus family, females ovulate at least 4 times a month. That's why sometimes I had guys call me up and say, Skip, man, every time I do a water change, my fish lay eggs. And I was like, no, that's not, the water change is not making your fish lay eggs. You just so happen to be on the same schedule as her ovulation cycle. So every time you do a water change, obviously that's when she ovulates. Now water change can sometimes induce a false ovulation. And that's when the water change and the chemical imbalance in the tank, the estrogen levels build up, and then the female prematurely drop eggs when she not supposed to. and then you get a male to go over and fan over and they don't fertilize, and you think your male is infertile and everything. No, your male is not infertile. It's just that that wasn't a true viable ovulation period for her to drop those eggs. You got to learn. You got to time it. That's something I can't teach you. You got to learn that on your own. So with all that said, happy to wrap up this series. This Skip, you know the saying.